creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of the civil rights movement, which is moving with determination and a majestic scorn for risk and danger to establish a reign of freedom and a rule of justice. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war. The bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I refuse to accept the cynical notion that nation after nation must spiral down a militaristic stairway into the hell of nuclear annihilation. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality.
Let's move to the glossary section. Here we can learn the meanings of some words. Scorn, content, poses, pipes for sending out gas, sanctuary, shelter and protection. Segregation, a social system that provides separate facilities for minority groups. Dedicating, creative battle without weapons. Mindful, conscious or aware of something. Snarling means dogs make a deep and rough sound while showing deep, usually in anger. Beleaguered, having a lot of problems or difficulties. Antithetical, opposite. Elegy, a song of sadness. Martin Luther King's acceptance speech on the occasion of the award of Nobel Peace Prize in Oslo, December 10, 1964. Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment when 22 million Negroes of the United States of America are engaged in a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. I accept this award on behalf of civil rights movement, which is moving with determination and majestic scorn for risk and danger to establish a reign of freedom and rule of justice. I am mindful that only yesterday in Birmingham, Alabama, our children crying out for brotherhood were answered with fire houses, snarling dogs, and even death. I am mindful that only yesterday in Philadelphia, Mississippi, young people seeking to secure the right to vote were brutalized and murdered. And only yesterday, more than 40 houses of worship in the state of Mississippi alone were burned because they offer a sanctuary to those who would not accept segregation. I am mindful that debilitating and grinding poverty afflicts my people and chains them to the lowest rung of economic ladder. Therefore, I must ask why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle, to a movement which has not won the very peace and brotherhood which is the essence of Nobel Prize. After contemplation, I conclude that this award which I receive on behalf of that movement is a profound recognition that non-violence is the answer to the crucial political and moral question of our time. The need for man to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to violence and oppression. Civilization and violence are antithetical concepts. Negroes of the United States, following the people of India, have demonstrated that non-violence is not sterile passivity but a powerful moral force which makes for social transformation. Sooner or later, all the people of the world will have to discover a way to live together in peace and thereby transform this pending cosmic energy into a creative psalm of brotherhood. If this is to be achieved, man must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. The foundation of such method is love. The tortuous road which has led from Montgomery, Alabama to Oslo bears witness to this truth. This is a road over which millions of Negroes are traveling to find a new sense of dignity. This same road has opened for all Americans a new era of progress and hope. It has led to a new civil rights bill and it will, I'm convinced, be widened and lengthened into superhighway of justice as Negro and white men in increasing numbers create alliances to overcome the children. Let's learn the antonyms of some tough words from this topic in vocabulary section. One of the sentences I have taken here, I accept the Nobel Prize for Peace at a moment like. Here, the highlighted word is peace, the opposite of peace is war. In a creative battle to end the long night of racial injustice. The tough word I have taken from this line is injustice. What is the opposite of this injustice? Justice. Another sentence. I accept this award on behalf of a civil rights movement. Accept. Opposite is reject. Children, let's go to some other words. Why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle. The words that I have chosen here are beleaguered and committed. Let's know the opposite of beleaguered first. Opposite of beleaguered is unworried. What would be the opposite of committed here? Committed, opposite is disloyal or uncommitted. Let's move to the another sentence. After contemplation, I conclude that this award which I received, it continues, and the word that I have taken here is contemplation, and opposite of this word is thoughtlessness. Non-violence is the answer to the crucial political and moral question of our time. Crucial. Opposite is minor. Civilization and violence are antithetical concepts. Violence opposite non-violence. If this is to be achieved, man must evolve for all human conflict a method. It continues like this. And the opposite of conflict is agreement. Convinced, divided, and lengthened into a superhighway of justice. Here, opposite of convinced is doubtful. As we grow and white men and increasing numbers create alliances to overcome their common problems. Alliances. Opposite is disagreements. Alliances. Opposite disagreements. Because they offered a sanctuary to those who would not accept segregation. Opposite of segregation is integration. Integration.
Children, let's go to the comprehension section. Question and answers. The first question. The speaker talks about a creative battle in the beginning of his speech. What does he mean by this phrase? The answer would be like this. Generally, weapons would be used in wars, but in the civil rights movement, they had chosen the non-violence method to fight against the government. Let's go to the second question. What is Martin Luther King's speech about? List the issues he is talking about. Answer. First one is racial injustice, right to vote, and third one is segregation, oppression, and fifth one to establish reign of freedom and rule of justice. And the last one for brotherhood. Do you think that this is an emotive speech? If yes, pick up the expressions that it is an emotive speech. The answer would be like this. Yes, I do think that this was an emotive speech. The first one, blazing like a truth, wounded justice, majestic scorn, vindicating and grinding poverty, and fifth, crying out for brotherhood. These expressions show that it was an emotive speech.
Summary of the speech. Martin Luther King accepted Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of civil rights movement. The key points in his speech are: I have a dream that one day a nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of great. Everyone is created equal and they should be treated equal. Negroes should not be subjected to physical violence in their march to freedom. He stated the problems of discrimination, racial injustice the Negroes faced. He demanded that America should keep the promise of freedom. The Negroes should keep the faith and determination in this march. His speech to the whites, Negroes will not be satisfied until they are freed. He mentioned that he followed Mahatma Gandhi's method of non-violence. You might have understood the power of non-violence as a weapon in achieving freedom, as well as the hardships faced by the Negroes of USA to acquire civil rights in civil rights movement. From Martin Luther King's speech, I have a dream. So, children, I hope you too develop the speech